Part 1. The Betrayal. Once upon a time, in the heart of a quaint village nestled amidst rolling hills and lush forests, there lived two best friends, Luna and Ava. Their bond was strong, forged through countless shared moments of laughter and whispered secrets under the old oak tree near the edge of the village. Luna, with her sparkling laughter and kind heart, was known far and wide for her selfless nature. People sought her out for advice and comfort, finding solace in her words like a beacon of light in the darkest of nights. Ava, on the other hand, possessed a sharp wit and a clever mind that never failed to unravel the most complicated of puzzles. Their friendship seemed unbreakable, weathering the storms of life that often cast shadows on other relationships. But fate had a different plan in store for them, a twist that would shake the very foundations of their bond. It all began with the arrival of a mysterious traveler in the village. With his dark cloak and piercing eyes, he exuded an air of intrigue that captivated the villagers. Luna, ever curious and eager for adventure, felt drawn to him like a moth to a flame. Ava, sensing a change in her friend, watched in silence as Luna's attention shifted from their shared moments to the enigmatic stranger. Days turned into weeks, and Luna spent more and more time in the company of the traveler, her laughter no longer echoing through the village square. Ava's heart ached with a strange mix of jealousy and betrayal as she watched her best friend slip away, lost in a world that seemed to have no place for her. But it was on a moonlit night, under the shadow of the old oak tree where their friendship had blossomed, that the true betrayal unfolded. Ava, unable to contain the turmoil brewing within her, confronted Luna about her newfound loyalty to the traveler. Words were exchanged, tears were shed, but the distance between them had grown too vast to bridge. In that moment, as the wind whispered through the leaves and the stars bore witness to their shattered friendship, Luna made a choice that sealed their fates. With a heavy heart and a gaze that held no remorse, she turned her back on Ava, choosing the path that led her away from the village, away from their shared memories. And as Luna disappeared into the night with the traveler by her side, Ava was left alone under the watchful gaze of the old oak tree, the echoes of their laughter haunting the silence that now enveloped her. The betrayal cut deep, leaving scars that would take years to heal. But little did they know, this was only the beginning of a tale woven with threads of destiny and choices that would shape their lives in ways they could never have imagined. Change will bring them together once more, testing the strength of their bond against the tides of time and fate. Part 2. The Confrontation. Once the betrayal unfolded, tension simmered in the air between the two friends. Sarah's heart ached with the weight of the secret she had discovered about Emma, her closest confidant. Night after night, she wrestled with the dilemma of whether to confront Emma or bury the truth deep within herself. The silence between them grew heavy, filled with unspoken words and unshed tears. Days turned into weeks as Sarah grappled with her inner turmoil. Each passing moment only served to fuel the storm brewing inside her. The betrayal gnawed at her conscience, demanding resolution. She knew that facing Emma would mean risking their friendship, but staying silent felt like a betrayal of her own values. Finally, one evening as the sun dipped below the horizon, Sarah's resolve solidified. With a deep breath, she decided to confront Emma. The weight of her decision settled in her chest, a mix of fear and determination propelling her forward. As she made her way to Emma's house, the echo of their laughter from happier times taunted her, reminding her of what was at stake. The confrontation was not one of anger or accusation but one of pain and longing for understanding. Sarah sought solace in the truth, a chance for both of them to mend the fractures that had formed between them. When she stood at Emma's doorstep, her hand trembled as she raised it to knock, uncertainty mingling with the quiet resolve burning within her. Emma opened the door, her eyes widening in surprise at the unexpected visit. As their gazes met, a flood of emotions passed between them, unspoken words hanging heavy in the air. Sarah took a deep breath, the words spilling out in a rush, each syllable carrying the weight of her heart's burden. The truth tumbled out, raw and unfiltered, leaving Sarah vulnerable yet liberated. Emma's expression shifted from confusion to realization as the layers of deception peeled away, revealing the core of their fractured bond. In that moment of confrontation, the invisible barriers between them crumbled, replaced by a fragile bridge of understanding. Tears flowed freely, washing away the hurt and mistrust that had festered in the shadow of their unspoken truths. As the night deepened around them, Sarah and Emma found themselves embracing, the warmth of reconciliation thawing the frost that had settled in their hearts. With the dawn of a new day, their friendship stood on the brink of transformation. The confrontation had been a turning point, a catalyst for healing and renewal. As they walked side by side, the echoes of their shared laughter now mingled with the whispers of forgiveness, weaving a tapestry of resilience born from the ashes of betrayal. And in that fragile moment of reconciliation, Sarah and Emma found the strength to rebuild what had been broken, their bond stronger for having weathered the storm together. Part 3. The support. After the storm of betrayal and the fierce confrontation, our protagonist found solace in the form of unwavering support. Friends, both old and new, encircled them with kindness and understanding, creating a safety net of compassion amidst the chaos. The betrayal had left deep wounds in our protagonist's heart, wounds that seemed unreachable, but the gentle words of a longtime friend reminded them that healing is a journey, not a race. The friend's presence was a balm to the soul, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, light can find its way in. And then there were the new faces, those who appeared in the aftermath of the confrontation. They brought with them a different kind of support, one born out of shared experiences and empathy. These new companions offered a fresh perspective and opened doors to healing our protagonist had not even considered. In the quiet moments of doubt and vulnerability, another friend stood by, offering unwavering encouragement. They reminded our protagonist of their strength, their resilience, their worth. This steady presence was a beacon of hope in the midst of uncertainty, a reminder that even in the deepest despair, there is always someone willing to stand by your side. As days turned into weeks, our protagonist began to see a shift within themselves. The support of their friends had not only lifted their spirits but had also ignited a flame of self-discovery. Through the eyes of those who cared for them, our protagonist began to see the beauty and strength that had always resided within. There were moments of setbacks, moments when the weight of the betrayal felt too heavy to bear. But in those moments, the support of their friends never wavered. They held our protagonist up, nudging them forward with gentle nudges and encouraging words. And so, our protagonist walked the path of healing, hand in hand with those who had become their pillars of strength. With each step, the wounds began to heal, the pain began to fade, and a newfound sense of resilience blossomed within. In the end, it was not the betrayal or the confrontation that defined our protagonist but the unwavering support of those who stood by their side. Through their love, kindness, and understanding, our protagonist emerged not only stronger but also more compassionate, more grateful, and more certain of the power of friendship in the face of adversity. And as they looked back on the journey they had traveled, our protagonist knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they would always have the support and love of those who believed in them. No matter what. Part 4. The Recognition. In the unfolding tale of friendship's complexities and challenges, we stand now at Part 4, The Recognition. Our characters have traversed the rough terrain of betrayal, faced head-on the fires of confrontation, and sought solace in the nurturing embrace of support. But here, in the heart of our story, the rays of a new dawn begin to illuminate the path ahead. Recognition, like a gentle breeze on a calm evening, whispers its arrival. It is a moment of clarity, a profound realization that cuts through the fog of confusion. Amidst the scattered pieces of trust that once lay shattered, a faint glimmer of understanding begins to dance. Our protagonists, weathered by the trials of their journey, start to see each other with newfound eyes. Layers of past grievances peel away, leaving space for empathy to bloom. The wounds of betrayal, raw and tender, find solace in the balm of acknowledgement. The heavy burden of resentment that weighed upon their hearts begins to lighten. Slowly, ever so gently, the seeds of forgiveness take root in the fertile soil of shared experiences. Through the lens of recognition, they see the complexity of their intertwined stories. No longer mere players in each other's dramas, they emerge as witnesses to the trials and tribulations that have shaped their connection. A tapestry of shared moments, both joyful and sorrowful, unfolds before their eyes. In this moment of recognition, they find the courage to embrace vulnerability. Walls built high by pride and hurt begin to crumble, revealing the tender hearts that beat beneath the facade of strength. Darkness gives way to light as the shadows of doubt and suspicion recede. Their voices, once laden with the weight of unspoken truths, now find liberation in the power of mutual understanding. Words unspoken for so long now flow freely, weaving a tapestry of honesty and compassion. Each syllable uttered resonates with the echoes of past misunderstandings, dissolving them like morning mist. The recognition that dawns upon our characters is not a grand proclamation or a dramatic gesture. It is a quiet stirring of the soul, a gentle realization that binds them together in a new light. Through tears shed and words shared, they find healing in the simple act of seeing and being seen. And so, dear listener, as we reach the culmination of Part 4, The Recognition, we witness the tender blossoming of empathy and forgiveness. Our characters, once adrift in the tempest of discord, now find anchor in the calm waters of understanding. The road ahead may still be fraught with challenges, but armed with the power of recognition, they step forward with newfound resolve and unity. Part 5. The Fallout. Welcome to Part 5, The Fallout. After the recognition of their true selves, a heavy silence engulfed the room, each revelation a seismic tremor, shaking the foundation of their relationships. The betrayal, the confrontation, The support and the recognition had led them here. To this moment of truth and consequence. Emotions hung thick in the air. A delicate balance of regret, anger, and sorrow. The weight of unspoken words pressed down upon them, threatening to drown out any chance of reconciliation. Friends turned strangers in the blink of an eye. Shadows of familiarity fading into the night. The fallout was inevitable, like the aftermath of a storm that leaves destruction in its wake. The foundation of trust shattered. Fragile shards scattered at their feet. No one emerged unscathed, each heart wounded by the wounds inflicted by another. But amidst the chaos, a glimmer of hope flickered. A tiny ember refusing to be extinguished by the darkness surrounding them. A hand reached out, tentative but sincere, a silent plea for understanding and forgiveness. Through tears and heartfelt words, they began to rebuild what was broken. Apologies whispered like prayers, seeking redemption and healing. The wounds of the past slowly mended, leaving scars as a reminder of their shared pain and resilience. As the sun rose on a new day, a sense of peace settled over them. The storm had passed, leaving behind a clear sky and a fresh start. Their bonds renewed, stronger for having weathered the tempest together. The fallout had been devastating, but it was also a catalyst for growth and renewal. They emerged from the ashes like phoenixes, reborn and ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. United in their resolve, they stepped forward into the unknown, hearts intertwined in a silent pledge of loyalty and love. And so, the fallout became not the end, but a new beginning, a chapter closed, but with the promise of many more waiting to be written. As they walked hand in hand towards the horizon, the past behind them and the future ahead, they knew that whatever trials they faced, they would face them together. This concludes our journey through the intricate tapestry of human relationships, where betrayal and forgiveness, conflict and resolution, despair and hope intertwine to create the complex mosaic of life. Thank you for joining me on this emotional odyssey. May we all find strength and solace in the connections we forge with one another. And so, until we meet again, may your heart be open, your spirit resilient, and your journey filled with love and understanding. Goodbye for now, dear listener. Part 6. The Resilience. Welcome to Part 6 of our story, The Resilience. After the fallout, our protagonist found themselves standing amidst the emotional wreckage of the past. The shattered remnants of trust and security lay scattered around them like shards of glass. The weight of betrayal still lingered heavy in their heart. Yet something within them stirred, a flicker of determination, a whisper of resilience. As the dust settled, they took a deep breath and looked around. The once familiar landscape now seemed different, altered by the storm that had ripped through their life. But in the distance, a glimmer of hope beckoned. It was a reminder that even in the darkest of moments, there is always a sliver of light waiting to be found. With each step forward, our protagonist began to rebuild from the ruins. It wasn't easy. The wounds of the past still ached, and the path ahead was uncertain. But they refused to be defined by the pain that had once consumed them. Instead, they chose to rise from the ashes like a phoenix, reborn with a newfound strength and resilience. In the quiet moments of solitude, they reflected on the journey that had led them here, the betrayal that had shaken their foundation, the confrontation that had tested their courage, the support that had carried them through, and the recognition that had validated their truth. Each chapter of their story had played a vital role in shaping the person they had become. As they embraced their scars, they discovered a new sense of freedom. The weight of resentment and anger began to lift, making space for forgiveness and healing to take root. It was a slow and steady process, but with each passing day, they felt a little lighter, a little stronger. Through the darkness of despair, they found a renewed sense of purpose. The journey ahead was still uncertain, but they walked with a newfound confidence, knowing that they had weathered the storm and emerged resilient. The scars they carried were not marks of weakness but badges of survival. Reminders of the battles they had fought and the strength they had discovered within themselves. And so, our protagonist continued forward, guided by the light of resilience that burned brightly within them. They knew that life would always be filled with challenges and hardships. But they also knew that they had the courage and resilience to face whatever came their way. As the sun set on this chapter of their story, they looked to the horizon with hope and determination. The road ahead may be long and winding, but they walked it with their head held high, knowing that they were stronger and braver than they had ever believed possible. And so, dear listener, remember this. In the face of adversity, in the wake of betrayal, in the shadow of despair, there is always resilience, a beacon of light that shines bright in the darkest of times. Embrace it, nurture it, and let it guide you through the storms of life. For it is in our moments of greatest struggle that we discover the true depth of our strength and the unwavering power of the human spirit. Thank you for listening to Part 6, The Resilience. Stay tuned for the next chapter of our story. Part 7, The Transformation. Welcome to Part 7, The Transformation. After enduring betrayal, confronting the truth, finding support, gaining recognition, surviving the fallout, and showcasing remarkable resilience, our protagonist stands on the verge of a remarkable transformation. The experiences faced thus far have sculpted their spirit, molding it into a resilient armor that glistens with the beauty of overcoming adversity. Each trial, each tear shed, and each moment of despair has not been in vain. They have sown seeds of strength in the soil of their soul, roots plunging deep into the earth of their being. As the winds of change whisper through the branches of their life, a sense of liberation stirs within. The weight of past pains gradually lifts, replaced by a newfound understanding, an understanding that growth often springs from the darkest places. Like a fragile bloom breaking through hardened soil. Through the storms of life, our protagonist has learned to dance in the rain, to find beauty in the chaos, and to embrace the shadows as fervently as the light. The scars that once marred their heart now tell a tale of resilience etched in silver, shimmering with the promise of healing. In the quiet moments of introspection, they realize that transformation is not a destination but a journey, a continuous evolution of self. A shedding of old skins, a rebirth, and like a caterpillar cocooned in its silken chrysalis, they feel the stirrings of wings that long to break free and taste the sweetness of the sky. With a heart tempered by fire and a soul forged in the crucible of experience, our protagonist steps forward into the unknown with courage as their guide and resilience as their compass. They embrace the uncertainty of tomorrow with a newfound sense of purpose, knowing that within them lies the strength to weather any storm. And so, as the sun sets on this chapter of their story, a new dawn rises on the horizon, painting the sky in hues of hope and possibility. The transformation that awaits is not merely external but a deep, profound metamorphosis of the spirit, a blossoming of the soul into a radiant tapestry of resilience, courage, and grace. As our protagonist takes their first tentative steps towards this new beginning, we are reminded that transformation is not for the faint of heart. It requires a willingness to let go of the past, to embrace the unknown, and to trust in the wisdom of the journey ahead. And so, dear listener, as we witness the unfolding of this remarkable transformation, may we remember that within each of us lies the power to grow, to change, and to emerge from the ashes of our struggles like a phoenix reborn. Thank you for joining us on this journey of resilience, my friends. Until we meet again in the next chapter of our tale, may your hearts be filled with the light of hope and the strength of unwavering resilience. This concludes Part 7, The Transformation. Part 8, The Triumph. In the vast tapestry of life, where threads of destiny weave a tale of challenges and triumphs, we now arrive at Part 8, The Triumph. After enduring the crucible of betrayal, confronting inner demons, finding solace in support, and earning recognition for unwavering perseverance, our protagonist faced the fallout of adversity with resilience. Through the transformative power of self-discovery, they emerged reborn, shedding old skins to reveal the brilliance within. In this moment of reckoning, the echoes of the past mingled with the promises of the future. The air was charged with anticipation, a palpable energy that whispered of impending victory. The path to triumph had been arduous, lined with obstacles and doubts that threatened to eclipse the light of hope. Yet, our protagonist pressed on, fueled by a fire that burned brighter with each challenge overcome. As they stood on the threshold of greatness, a sense of peace settled over them, a stillness born of the knowledge that they had walked through the fires of adversity and emerged stronger on the other side. The moment of triumph was not just about achieving a long-sought victory. It was a celebration of the human spirit's indomitable will to rise above circumstances and carve out a destiny that shone like a beacon in the darkness. The applause that greeted their success was not merely a recognition of feats accomplished but a testament to the resilience of the human heart. Beating in rhythm with the pulse of the universe, with heads held high, our protagonist basked in the glow of triumph, their soul illuminated by the knowledge that every trial and tribulation had been but a stepping stone to this moment of glory. In the tapestry of their life, each thread of challenge and setback had woven a pattern of strength and determination, culminating in a masterpiece of resilience that stood as a monument to the power of the human spirit. As the sun set on this chapter of their journey, casting long shadows that hinted at new horizons waiting to be explored, our protagonist knew that no matter what trials lay ahead, they would face them with courage and grace, secure in the knowledge that within them burned the light of triumph that no darkness could dim. And so, dear listeners, may you too find the strength to weather life's storms, to rise from the ashes of adversity, and to bask in the glorious light of your own triumphs, however big or small, for in the heart of every challenge lies the seed of victory, waiting to bloom in the garden of your soul.